Once upon a time, in a land of lush green forests and towering mountains, there lived a kind and gentle queen named Alara. She was known far and wide for her beauty, grace, and a heart that was as pure as the crystal-clear streams that flowed through her kingdom. But despite all her blessings, Queen Alara had one deep sorrow. She longed for a child. One winter's day, as the kingdom was blanketed in snow, Queen Alara sat by her window, gazing at the pristine landscape. She yearned for a child with skin as white as snow, lips as red as blood, and hair as black as ebony. She made a wish to the winter winds, a wish so sincere that it seemed to echo through the forest. In the heart of the forest, where the ancient trees whispered secrets to one another, there lived a powerful enchantress named Serafina. She heard the queen's wish and, out of curiosity, decided to grant it. Serafina's magic could make the impossible possible, but magic always came at a price. With a wave of her hand, Serafina summoned a swirling storm of snowflakes that danced around Queen Alara. In their midst, a beautiful baby girl was born, her skin as white as the snow, lips as red as blood, and hair as black as ebony. Alara named her Snow White. The kingdom rejoiced at the birth of the princess, but their joy was short-lived. A year later, Queen Alara fell ill and passed away. The kingdom mourned its beloved queen, and King Edmund was left to raise Snow White on his own. Though heartbroken, he adored his daughter and did everything in his power to protect and cherish her. Years passed, and Snow White grew into a young woman known throughout the kingdom for her radiant beauty. Her ebony hair flowed like a river of night, and her heart was as pure as her mother's had been. But as Snow White blossomed into a young woman, the kingdom's tranquility was shattered by a new presence, the wicked Queen Astrid. Astrid had married King Edmund in the wake of Alara's passing, and her cold heart was as different from Snow White's as night from day. Obsessed with beauty and power, Astrid possessed a mirror that she believed to be the most truthful in all the realms. Each day, she would ask it the same question: "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" And each day, the mirror would reply, "You, my queen, are the fairest in the land." But as Snow White grew older, her beauty surpassed even Astrid's, and the mirror's answer changed. One fateful day, it declared, "Snow White, dear princess, is now the fairest in the land." Astrid's heart filled with envy, and her obsession turned to madness. She plotted to rid herself of Snow White, for her jealousy could not abide the presence of a rival. She summoned the kingdom's huntsman and ordered him to take Snow White deep into the forest, far from the kingdom, and to return with her heart as proof of her demise. The huntsman, a kind and compassionate soul, could not bear to harm the innocent princess. He led Snow White deep into the heart of the enchanted forest, where the trees whispered tales of magic and mystery. There he confessed Astrid's wicked plan and urged Snow White to run and hide, far away from the queen's reach. With tears in her eyes, Snow White fled into the depths of the forest. As night fell, she stumbled upon a small cottage nestled among the trees. Exhausted and frightened, she knocked on the door. To her surprise, 7 little dwarfs greeted her with open arms. They were miners who toiled in the nearby mines and offered Snow White shelter in their humble abode. Snow White, grateful for their kindness, agreed to stay and help with the household chores. In return, the dwarfs promised to protect her from the wicked queen's wrath. And so, Snow White began her new life with her newfound friends. Happy, grumpy, sleepy, sneezy, dopey, bashful, and Doc. Meanwhile, back in the palace, Queen Astrid believed she had rid herself of Snow White and reveled in her newfound status as the fairest in the land. But her obsession with beauty only deepened, and she grew increasingly paranoid, fearing that someone might one day surpass her. One evening, Astrid gazed into her mirror and was horrified to hear it declare, "A new beauty, pure and fair, is hidden deep within the forest lair." Realizing that Snow White still lived, Astrid's heart turned to ice, and her thirst for vengeance consumed her. She set out on a quest to find Snow White and end her life once and for all. As Astrid ventured into the enchanted forest, its magic seemed to twist and turn against her. Trees shifted their branches to obscure her path, and vines reached out to trip her. But Astrid's determination was unyielding, and she pressed on, fueled by hatred and jealousy. Back at the dwarf's cottage, Snow White's life was filled with simple joys. She sang songs, cooked hearty meals, and befriended the forest creatures, who adored her gentle nature. But her presence in the forest had not gone unnoticed. The forest's magic sensed the purity of her heart and sent ripples of protection to shield her from Astrid's malevolent intentions. One day, as Snow White was singing a song by the cottage window, she noticed a shadowy figure lurking in the trees. It was Astrid, her eyes aflame with hatred. Snow White's heart raced as she realized the queen had found her sanctuary. She rushed inside and warned the dwarfs of the impending danger. They sprang into action, crafting traps and barricades to defend their beloved princess. As night fell, a battle of wits and courage unfolded between Astrid and the dwarfs, with Snow White's life hanging in the balance. The enchanted forest itself seemed to come to life, aiding the dwarfs in their defense. Trees bent and swayed to block Astrid's path, and animals launched strategic attacks to keep her at bay. The battle raged through the night, and as dawn broke, Astrid's relentless pursuit began to wane. In a final desperate act, Astrid unleashed a dark magic spell, summoning a storm of lightning and thunder. But as she cast her spell, the forest responded with a surge of its own magic, redirecting her dark power back upon her. Astrid was consumed by the very darkness she had summoned, vanishing into a swirl of shadows. With Astrid defeated, the forest's magic began to calm, and the sun's rays gently broke creatures through the trees. Snow White, the dwarfs, and the forest creatures rejoiced, their sanctuary safe once more. But Snow White knew she could not stay forever. Her heart ached for the kingdom she had left behind, and the father who still loved her. Parting with tears and promises to return, Snow White ventured back to the kingdom where her father, King Edmund, welcomed her with open arms. He had never forgotten his beloved daughter, and her return brought joy and light back to the kingdom. Word of Astrid's defeat and Snow White's return soon spread throughout the kingdom, filling the hearts of the people with hope and happiness. The dwarfs, having become dear friends to Snow White, were honored and celebrated for their bravery in defending her. As Snow White took her rightful place by her father's side, the kingdom flourished under her wise and compassionate rule. The enchantment of the forest remained a cherished memory, and Snow White, with her pure heart, became a symbol of kindness and resilience. The years passed, and Snow White's beauty continued to shine, but it was her inner strength and grace that endeared her to the people. She forgave Queen Astrid for her wickedness, recognizing the darkness that jealousy had cast upon her heart. In time, Snow White's kingdom extended an olive branch to the neighboring realms, fostering alliances and friendships. The enchantment of the forest remained a secret, a guardian of peace and harmony for generations to come. And so, the tale of Snow White and the enchanted forest became a timeless legend, a story of innocence preserved, of friendship forged in the face of adversity, and of the enduring power of kindness and forgiveness. It was a story whispered by the wind through the leaves of the ancient trees and etched into the hearts of those who believed in the magic of the world.